There was a time when I was very, very clear about what I believed. I was evangelical Southern Baptist for till I was age 35. I was so certain until I had an experience where my father passed away. And I had a break in what I ever knew or believed. And I went from being so certain to having no clarity at all. And then I began to build my belief systems up again in a more earth-based way and more in the divine feminine and all of that. And it was incredible. I started to have I was I lost my faith in who I thought that I was at every turn. And as I built up a belief system, it fell apart again. And I found myself releasing all of the beliefs because I was like, how is it possible for me to ever know anything for my own self? Do I get to know anything as myself? Or must I always attune to an outer correctness, attune to a scripture, attune to a this is how it is, you need to do this, the moon is doing this, so you should do that. Like, that's great until you realize that a lot of, at least for me, there was a lot of control that started to happen. And it was always people, right? It was always the people that I was putting my faith in what they had to say. I would seek their wisdom. I would seek their correctness. And so I found myself I moved house and I was in what I would call like a void of belief. And so I was like, well, then nothing. And so one day I found this YouTube video about sacred geometry. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And they were like, you don't really know until you yourself do the geometry. You don't really know what we're talking about. And I was like, we won't say about that. Right. So I got myself a compass and I learned in the act of creating the geometry something about myself that I had never accessed, and it was a very physical experience. And so what I learned was, so see how this compass has there's a point and then there's the thing that you draw with. This point is, think of this as your body and think of the point as your attention. Your body can stretch out as far as it wants to go or as small as it, well, you can bring yourself however you want into the world. But it begins with your point of attention. And look, I'm going to show you on this paper right here. Look, this represents my attention. And from the place of my center, I can expand myself however far I wish. I can use my body. Now, if I decide I want to make a circle that's this big, I will be it'll be a wobbly experience. If I go too small, it's a little bit tight. But when I find the place that feels just right, when I expand myself, think of this as your beliefs, right? So you move through the world, you put your attention anywhere you like, and then you expand and you begin to move and you begin to walk and you begin to have a physicalized human experience. And when that circle closes up, I have now created a container for myself. So this might be all the things that I ever held as a belief in the world. And you can go anywhere you like within those beliefs, but it's really pretty hard to grow. I can grow by expanding from here my physical body, my physical understanding. But at a certain point, my vessel, myself, my being can really kind of only stretch so far. How will I grow? How then can I expand and grow? Well, in geometry, the way that anything grows, and this is the way all of creation is created. It begins, think of cell division. Think of the a fertilized egg, how it splits off. We grow in this exact same way, in the way that if you want to expand and grow in the world past a belief that you've ever had, you would have to bring this point of attention out to the farthest edge of anything that you've ever believed before, anything that you've ever seen before. And you would bring yourself back to your center. You're like, wait a second. Okay, this is who I am. This is what's familiar to me. But I, from that point of my center, am going to begin to move again. And you move past what's familiar. And then you're like, I'm fully in the zone of things I've never done before or seen before. This is so scary. Maybe I'm sinning. Help. But then, wait, but then you realize who you are, who you were. And then you're like, wait, I have now accessed something new while holding on to something that has always been familiar. And I started to recognize that my beliefs were expanding in this very same way. I was having the experience of like, wait, okay, so I can hang with what's new here, but like this is where I have been. This is where I'm moving in this direction. And what happens when we have the courage to expand what we believe, something else gets created. Another a third thing gets created. We have now created this portal through which anything could come, because I'm grounded in how I have been. I'm expanding into something new. This is the portal of all of creation. And so we think of it, it looks very anatomically um, like a portal of feminine creation. And what becomes possible is not only a portal through which we can move, but we also have the first experience of direction. And so when you have your circle, when I had that circle or that dot, this dot living on a plane of if you could imagine, that paper is just all potential in the world. You expand, but there's no direction. It's just a sphere in the middle of nothing. But once you have moved in any direction, and like we could say, there would really be no, I chose to bring my attention out here, right? This was my second dot. There's this dot and this dot. Now we have created the capacity to make a line. There was no access to making a kind of line when you're just in a circle, when you're just in your own long held beliefs. This is just how I've always thought and I've always been. There's nowhere to grow. But now look, we have created the capacity now to move, to create direction. We can move now and expand. And we also can move in the vertical. We can move up and down. So now we have access to the upper world and the horizontal world. An entire new matrix of reality is created. And why does that matter? Why would it matter to expand our beliefs? I would love to hear from any of you. If any of this is relating so far, are you yourself in a place of shifting beliefs? Have you guys, are you experiencing something similar to what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
For me, you have opened up the line to connecting with other. It's not just me in my world and my belief. It's no, I'm a part of something that we're all a part of, and now I can see into you and see myself through you as
Mm.
one.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Yes. And like the times that we're in right now, there is a very big need for us to see the other, to see people who are different from us, and to not have a set belief system about who or what we are and who or what we think that they are. Because here's another drawing of this. If this is me and this is you, there is a potential created thing that I could never have created alone, nor could you. But when we overlap, something utterly unique is created in the overlap between you and me. And that makes the puzzle pieces of this reality that we're in. And a lot of, if we are busy making sure that we operate in the correctness of an outside force, we will forget that there is things that are yet that have yet to be imagined, that we are here to create in this right now moment with one another, that we never could have seen before. And so we have we have the potential for creation, and um mm, there is something inside of you that is only going to get awakened and accessed when we overlap and with one another. There is nothing that is more important in our time right now than for people to um, create create the thing that's in here that has never been imagined. If you could think of you can think of George Washington, right? If we were trying to explain to George Washington how the internet works, we would have to cover so much ground to get there, right? There are things that you and I are here to create that we have not even imagined yet, because we haven't gotten to that part of the story yet. And it's not until you create the thing that you came here to create that I will then be able to see myself rightly and be like, oh, I fit into this. I'm a puzzle piece to a match to something that I wouldn't have seen before. I couldn't have known before. So if we are imagine you're a personified um, puzzle piece, right? A little piece of puzzle. You bulge out here, you suck in here, you have this whole little shape that's your own. If you are trying really hard to make yourself a really good square, I want to eliminate all of my deficiencies, and I want to make sure that I'm not shining too bright, make sure that I'm not doing this too much, to this, to that. We eliminate the possibility of the things that we actually are here to fit in with. I want to just name that. I feel like I'm communicating so much that's inside of me, and I want I feel off right now because I started in a weird way. So I just want to name that and just what I want us to do, what I want more than anything is to look at some art together, look at some geometry together. And I want you to access the parts of yourself that are the fullness of, think of a circle as the feminine. Think of the circle as your receptive capacity. And think of a line as your direction, where I'm going to move. And I want you to think of the dot as pure potential. That dot could become anything. It can take any direction, and it can expand into any kind of way. That's you. And so with the circle, line, and dot, we're going to use those things and we're going to look at some art together, but I have to find it now because it was on my slideshow. Where did I put it? Ah, here we go. This is a piece that I shared online, and we're going to look at it in a bunch of different directions. And I'm really curious to know how you what you notice in your body, what you notice um in your thought process about those things that I said. So we've got circles. Who can tell me what a circle represents? You guys can a lot of you can unmute yourselves so that we can have conversation. What is the circle? Even though I've been kind of scattered in how I'm sharing this.
The
What do we
circle
know
is
about a circle?
the feminine container,
Uh-huh. It's a
the
container.
womb.
It's whole. And
Which
it also, yeah. And then what is the line? What does the line represent?
Masculine, open, and
Say,
finish.
can you say that again?
And the
Okay.
line, the connection between the two worlds, like your old kind of beliefs, one belief, the connection from one belief to the next belief, like from the original to the expanded
And it's also direction.
direction. Yeah.
So line, yeah, right? It's like, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. It's got very much like I make a decision and I go. So we're going to look at this piece. And it looks like it's fuzzy to me. Does it look fuzzy to you?
Just a bit, yeah.
Okay, let me see. If I go in closer, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to notice. What do you notice about this piece? I'm going to switch directions of it, but I want you to really tune into what you notice. What does it make you think about in your head?
depth and space.
Depth.
Timelessness.
Timelessness.
Like an hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no ending. It goes on forever.
No ending and no beginning. Just now, just the point.
Yeah. And what do you notice about the lines? The difference between lines and dots and circles. And I want to tell you, see here, this arc, this was a circle I created. Each of these were circles that I created with this very compass. It's almost like parts of a thing. Okay, so when I hold it like this, it's got a certain kind of vibe. I'm curious to know how it lands for you when you see it this way. Does that feel different in your body at all?
A
Yeah,
little bit.
it dropped kind of in a different way.
It kind of makes my stomach do something funny when I turn it.
It feels so much more linear because we like it reflects gravity in a way, like it's falling down.
Mm. And then on this side, do you feel that same gravity?
Mm-mm.
Opposite, weightlessness.
Interesting.
I also
One
feel like
feel
a sense of groundedness with this direction and the other direction. I sort of feel like everything falls right out. Like there's like my root kind of like empties out in a way. Like there's
Isn't
a
that
falling feeling. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Now, what about this way?
Mm.
It feels more expansive to me, that direction.
Feel
Mm.
fluttery.
Say again.
I feel fluttery.
Ha
Mhm.
ha ha. Yeah, it's really and now
Whoa.
go ahead.
It
It's just
says, or
I'm
that
suddenly,
dot can take flight.
yeah, I suddenly feel like inside of a cocoon, like coming out of a cocoon.
Ah, feel like you're coming out of a cocoon.
Mm.
How about this? Does that feel different?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. That feels more like wings to me, like a dragonfly.
Mm.
That made me have a total release. Like I had to release a huge breath
Mm.
that I didn't even know was in.
Ooh.
Mm.
This is so, I appreciate so much hearing what you are sharing because I want to bring you back to your pyramid, to yourself, to the fact that geometry is a mirror for us of something of an internal experience because we were created in this language.
So for me, it's always it's about time, which I think about time a lot because we're in a limited time, but there's also unlimited time. And when you put it like, turn it the other
Yeah,
way,
this way
keep,
or the
no,
other
keep
this way.
all the way over, keep going one more time.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Uh-huh.
That looks like to me like the hourglass has become like sucked into the new time of unlimited with a color. It's like if
Mm.
it was something sucking backwards into the new time zone where we are no longer limited with hourglass, but moving into the right into the very center of the next unlimited time, which has color, it has shiny, it's like going into a different world and it's sucking that old time zone that we're so limited by into an unlimited time zone. Or not a time zone, because I don't, not a time zone. It's so hard to describe what I'm, does that
Yeah,
make sense at
yeah.
all?
Timeline, maybe.
Yeah, timeline. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sucking
yeah.
into a different timeline. Yeah, that's it. Because the things that are
Incredible.
going up and down have so much more dimension and color. And the top one looks like, um, yeah, look at this top one. Look, that middle line looks like it could be a whole world that you're just getting to see a slice of, and then you're moving into that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if the points, like all the dots that are within what we're recognizing as the hourglass, if the
Mm-hmm.
dot is your point of focus, and this is all these are all the potential places to put your focus that all
Mm-hmm.
fall into the center that is you that then can
Mm-hmm.
expand out and through direction through all these little slivers of potential
Mm,
based on where
Right.
you're placing your focus. And
mm,
yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that.
The interesting thing I'm noticing about myself is that when I first saw it at this angle, like where
mm,
the larger pieces were on the left and right in both directions, it I started seeing it more two-dimensional, where it was these two pieces squishing the center, and just
Mm.
like the way that that felt like trapped and little things like that.
oh.
And then if I can then like hearing what everyone was saying, helping myself see this as multi-dimensional with depth from this angle
Mm-hmm.
helps me
Mm,
shift my perspective away from feeling trapped by life and then instead feeling invited into what's next, even if it looks scary.
Mm.
mm. Ah, thank you. I just want every one of you, the things that you just said, the things that you noticed about this piece, that's your wisdom for you. It's from you. There's nothing that's actually implied here. This isn't like a picture of two people walking on a beach that you'd be like, oh, there's a beach and this can mean anything. But what you got out of that, that's yours. That's you accessing some very, very high wisdom right now that applies to your actual life, where you might feel squeezed, where you might see potential.
I want to appreciate the black, the dark, stark black space and
Mm,
everything that feels comforting to me. Just the
mm,
idea that there's space around
Mm-hmm.
everything. Because I'm getting for me what's coming up is just lots of choices, just infinite possibility, infinite choices. But and I could be in that, but that can feel kind of buzzy. all inside of it, but I can always zoom out and be within that space to see it all from a different perspective and take a breath and pause and know that I am safe at the center of this creation.
Yes. And may you drink that wisdom into your sweet soul right now. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're facing, like that is juice for right now because you might need to know that. Yeah. Wow. I want to share with you some wisdom that has come through, which is part of what inspired this piece. And it speaks to our time, the time that we're in right now. And if you can imagine, imagine being a personified grain of sand inside of an hourglass, right? So if you're in a real hourglass, you're a real piece of sand, and you're at the top, and you feel like all the compression of all the other pieces of sand on you, and it feels like it just feels like you're in a sort of stuck place. But at some point, for some reason, you just experience the free fall of when that grain of sand goes from being in that upper world to dropping. It goes from being pressed to total free fall. Have you ever had that experience in your life? Have you ever
Mhm.
felt so pressed in on by life and then all of a sudden you're like free falling? Boom, and then you land, right? That was a weird ride. And then slowly other grains of sand start to fall onto you and you're like, "Oh yeah, right, I remember this." I remember I remember when life starts to compress down on me, right? And then some miracle of life, something happens and someone flips that hourglass. And then you're like, "Oh right, now I'm just compressed up here." And then eventually you go through that cycle and you start to fall again, right? Oh, and so it's this like thing of pressed down by life, going into free fall of chaos, like I don't even know what's about to happen, and then it becomes familiar again, and we go through this cycle over and over again. What I was shown is that the times that we're in right now in the real world, the shakeups that are happening on the literal planet Earth, the shakeups that are happening within ourselves as we shift beliefs. What has happened is the hourglass has been broken. And now these grains of sand that were individuated people, individuated person, used to a cycle that keeps happening over and over and over and over for millennia, we are in an absolutely new time where now that grain of sand is free to be what every other grain of sand is, which is maybe it's on the floor of a car, maybe it's at a beach, maybe it's in a garden, maybe like most of the grains of sand on planet Earth are not contained inside of a hourglass. Very few of them are. And but when you're inside of it, you think that's normal, right? Oh, I just like the repeating cycle. It might be hard, but I know at least what's happening. When I talked about that single dot, that single point representing pure potential, I'm not kidding. And that's you right now. And the things that you create from within your own line of directional focus between the upper world, the lower world, inside of the pyramid of who you are, inside of the structure of yourself. What we're here to do is to build a strong enough relationship with that very center of yourself so that when you make a decision about where you're going to be putting your attention, where you're going to be putting your singular dot of focus and then expand from there, it's like all bets are off about how it ever used to be. It will not ever look. It's so if we allow it to, other people are like, "Oh, you are struggling with lack of imagination? Awesome. We'll feed you what to do with your little point of attention. Here, watch this scary movie about the future and how terrible it's going to be. Watch this scary movie about how aliens are going to do this thing and it's going to be like they will take our little grain of sand of attention and put it wherever it serves them. But you're here to create for yourself your own desired experience. And that is taking a tremendous amount of responsibility and accountability for who you know yourself to be and what you do wish to experience in this world. Are you tracking with me? I want to know what's landing for you, and I want to hear some of your wisdom in these visuals, because I'm putting a lot of visuals out there, and it will kick up your own wisdom and insight, and please share it collectively. I would love to hear it.
The hourglass for me right now is like the patterns like that I've repeated. Like you were saying that like here's this repeating thing of like up and down, up and down, up and down. But you've shattered the hourglass, which felt very true. That just felt very real for me. That felt like the truth. Like I put myself in the hourglass. There really is no hourglass. Or I put myself within my patterns. It's not anybody. I can't blame my parents. I can't blame like the outside world. I can't blame anybody for the things that I continue to repeat to myself. And now I get to choose with my presence within that pyramid. I'm not choosing because of a mind game that I'm looping. I'm not choosing something because I think it's going to please you or support you. I mean, I do want to support
Sure.
you because I love and I care, but I want to support you and everyone from within, from a place of supporting and caring for myself through my presence. And I feel like I'm not like quite landing on the words that I want to use, but really the most important thing that I got out of everything you just said is like zeroing back to the point of my presence where I get to respond rather than repeat patterns. I can pause within that space, like I was talking about before, and make an empowered choice that is reflective of now that the hourglass is shattered, now that there is no hourglass and it's pure freedom and pure potential. How do I respond to that with my pure presence now? Yeah.
Thank you. How do I respond now?
And I think that for me, looking at that piece of geometry is that the biggest thing in life right now for me is like this total shift in perspective. It's like you can no longer think the way you used to think. It is not okay. It does not work. That is part of that pattern. And like the hourglass, that's one of the things that I was seeing is that the hourglass shape in the geometry is the pattern. It's the patterns that we were given as children. They weren't even ours. They're somebody else's. And yet that is how we have lived our life based on those patterns and the responses that we have to have, because those patterns will scare us into those responses. But the colored aspects of that geometry is the source of who you really are. It is the core of how you came to the planet. You came perfect. If you look into the eyes of a baby, you see that perfection. Yes, you see that as you will allow yourself to look at the pattern and go, oh, that's all that is. Like she was saying, it's not really an hourglass. There isn't such a thing, except that we put the power into it and we create those limitations. And so the colored aspects of that geometry is the space of understanding, oh, there are patterns in me. I'm my mother and my father. Isn't that interesting? and
Right.
yet, and yet all that piece of me is the vehicle, that the core, the source of my vibrant, magnificent, shining essence in that geometry that you made. That shining essence is who I am. And that has no limitation. And it's like the other woman said, it's like you can see a piece of the world. Oh my God, show me my whole world. Because you show me that and get out of my way. The world is going to shift and change instantaneously. And I think that's our power. And we don't know we have that power because we have been stripped of that with our patterns. But as soon as we know that we are the patterns, unless we choose, unless we take the point of interest and go, no, 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 I'm starting over right here, and I'm going to allow myself to expand, you know,
Mm.
and in that expansion, I'm going to be open. You know, like so many times when you see something in another person and you try and you're going to put a judgment on it, I now know, stop. You just look at their light. Look at their
Mm.
light and own what you were just thinking and see how to clear that from yourself. You know, because we all have
Mm.
it all. Of course we do. We're all one. And we get to choose what we do with that. You know, so
Mm.
I've never focused on geometry, Kimberly, and I've looked at so many of your pieces and fallen in love with your pieces, and yet now and this is why I wanted to join you today. I wanted to understand what is it that you are bringing forth that can
Mm.
open up another piece of me. And so
Aw.
thank you, and you're the
Oh,
best. Yes,
it's my very great honor and pleasure to have you in this class and to have you to be able to receive your wisdom.
mm,
Truly.
back at you, sister.
Wow.
Thank
Mm.
you, Shira. I really needed to hear everything. That was really beautiful. Thanks.
I also resonated so much with that. Thank you so much. That was incredibly potent. And also just what you were saying about the colors and the point and all of that being sort of our infinite nature, how we can go from that single point of just one thing that we're focused on to sort of expanding outward into actually I can hold it all, my
Mm.
capacity, almost as if the breaking of the hourglass is like, oh, actually, I'm not just moving in up and down. I'm not just moving in this same up and down. I'm moving and I can go in any direction and I can expand my awareness to every point, to everything. And
Mm.
I can expand my energetic field into infinite space. And yeah, that's what I'm getting from the from what Shira just said.
Thank you.
I want to say something, but I'm not sure how to say it. So I'm just going to start talking
Okay.
because this is something that's been working in me for a long time. The whole time thing and limits that we're in and that we're moving into the infinite. And what is that like? So, from my experience, I still feel limited
Mm.
because we're still in the limited space. Um, and so, how do I deal with that? Do I have sometimes felt like shame that I
Mm.
wasn't able to be more unlimited in my vision or my thoughts,
Mhm.
and the piece with the time, the hourglass. There's this tiny passageway going into that new
Mm.
world, and that is what I feel like I've been in for a long time, is that dark spot in the middle,
Mm.
and it
Mhm.
and it felt so limiting. And there's that vision that's on the other side that is fully open, but yet I'm still in that tiny passageway that is still held in this three-dimensional craziness that we're in. And so finding a way to be honoring myself as a human being, and that I am in a
Mhm.
limited body with an
Mhm.
unlimited soul that is moving from a limited world into an unlimited world, is a wild experience. And yet, when I can focus on that, it's okay to feel that and not feel bad that I don't feel like completely free all the time, then it gives me the hope, even in a dark place, that there is a breakthrough moment where
Mm.
all of that will open into the slivers of color and all the things that are on the side. And I experienced that in small ways
Mhm.
already, where I'd be like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden there's this vision. And then all of a sudden I'm back in this little tiny passageway. And that
Mm.
breaking the hourglass is such a beautiful way to think about it, because that's actually gone. But I'm this tiny grain of sand trying to make my way through this tiny space that I'm being sucked into, and then I can see the other side, but giving myself a lot of grace to say, I'm still human. I can see that. I can be in it. I can, dream about it and visualize it and feel it, and yet I'm still experiencing the dot. Does that make sense? And so for me, it's so important to not pressure myself to be somewhere that I'm just not yet, and be okay that I can see it, but I'm not quite there. And many times I feel like I'm halfway there or three-quarters of the way there, and sometimes all the way, but I'm still experiencing this third dimensional crunch. That is that point that we have to go through, which is just stripping away a lot of those behaviors and patterns and things, contracts that were made over us that we had nothing to do with, and agreements that we've made that we weren't aware of. That pulling and sucking through that hole has given me the ability to say, oh, that's why I can't quite fit through there yet, because this is something that I'm still agreeing with that I didn't even realize. And I didn't even make the agreement, it was made for me. So that's the experience of being in the broken hourglass, going through this little thing to get to the other side, and being in both worlds, and sometimes not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah.
point of the whole thing is like, I had to come to a place of being really okay with where I am, and know that I'm moving, not as maybe not as quickly as I would like to, but wherever I am in the darkness, there's a reason for that. That grain is making its way through, and I know where I'm going. I can see it, but not always. And so just to remember, we're human, and we're doing this thing, this spiritual thing in a human body, and it's tough
It's
sometimes,
really
but
tough.
there's so much hope. Sometimes the darker it gets, the more hope I have. I'm like, this is so dark. I know this is going to be great on the other side. So just an encouragement to all of us to be like, it's okay to be the grain of sand trying to figure out how to make our way through the tiny hole to the other side.
Thank you for bringing that focus back in, because this is where geometry is so wonderful, right? Because it's like it applies in the micro and the
Mm-hmm.
macro. And when you're in a spiritually expanding place, it's easy to be like, well, why aren't I further along? Why aren't
Mm-hmm.
I can expand into anything? And that's part of where I was getting at with like, in
Yeah.
this physical body, I really can only make a circle. Even if I try to make a circle this far out, I could do it, but it's hard and wobbly. I feel like that's what's being asked of us right now, is that
Mm-hmm.
we have to, in order to have any hope whatsoever about the future, we got to stretch pretty freaking
Mm-hmm.
far past the way we have seen things. And so this is why I really wanted to bring this idea of growing only, like we
Mm-hmm.
can only grow like a, a little bit at a time. But then when we do it again and again and again, it becomes a stable structure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can build all kinds of stuff. But it's like our imaginations can go into every utopian place, which I would like to make a huge case for utopian thinking,
Yes.
because we let's think about physics, right? Look, I'm going to use this necklace. My little a little thing that's now stuck in here. Okay, here's our compass, or a pendulum. When I have this pendulum and I bring it to the farthest end that it can go, it's gonna it's gonna go to its equal and opposite side, right? That's just physics. That's not even like magical thinking. That's just actual physics. We have we are living in the experience of one far freaking dark end of a spectrum on planet Earth right now. but this has every potential to swing to its equal and opposite end. So you think about what's happening in the world right now. If it's that dark, the equal and opposite light really is one of our choices. If this is dystopia over here, if this is everything is controlled by, people who don't care about us and blah blah blah, all this stuff, on this other end, like if this is heavy and dark, this is bright and light and freaking fun and funny and joyous and playful. This exists, yes, but it does not exist in a vacuum. It does not exist all by itself unless you do what I'm doing, which is I'm holding it here. As soon as I let go, it goes back. It'll just do what it does, right? But we have been handed a story that tells us that we have to hold up some dark vision of what the future could be. And if we have a lack of imagination of our own, we're just like, oh, okay, that's what the future is going to be like. Then we are handed a storyline that is just one of many, many choices.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you my disco ball analogy right now. So imagine that this disco ball is you. And this is you walking around in your world. This is you going to work. This is you hanging out with a friend. This is you going to a family thing you didn't really want to go to, but whatever. Right? So imagine that every one of the every piece of glass on here, every mirror, right? It's mirroring the outside world. Do you see how like this one is bright light and then right next to it is a black one? And then right next to it is like a pink one or a blue one? Like you have the capacity to perceive every situation that you're in from any number of vantage points, right? So like let's say this one over here, this little pane of glass is the perspective of, let's make it, you're going to a family gathering and there's people who have a lot of different kind of beliefs than what you have, right? Right here you're like, oh, I can't believe they're like that. I can't believe they think that way. They're so that's it just like a lot of judgment and a lot of just like thick heavy energy. This is still you. Over here, this one is the perspective of, I love connecting with these people. It doesn't matter what we believe. I love how I feel when I remember my aunt so and so and how great, like whatever you or I'm so grateful that I am a part of this experience, right? Or however you want to see it in this positive light is just as available to you as the negative light. But if you were seeing it from this negative perspective, in order to get over here, you got to make a lot of 1 degree turns, a lot of 1 degree moves to get over here. And you might get stuck. You might be like, I can't. It's too hard to think that this person who believes in a different political way than I do could ever have anything valuable to me to say at all, right? But I want to change. Why? Because I don't want to be stuck living my life seeing the whole world from this one fucking little pane of mirror. There has to be more. But to get here is such a journey. What I suggest is this: the fastest way to go is this, to go in from the outside into your center, into the middle. Bring yourself into your the center of your sphere, where you are no longer limited to this perspective. And when you breathe and you center yourself, you get yourself in your little pyramid or in your little like core self. From inside of here, you can pop out to any number of these, and there is no order of difficulty to go from the center to this one or to this one or to this one. It's literally the exact same, but you're coming at it from a totally different place than from watching the mirrored reflection of the outside world telling you something. Are you tracking?
Now
Yeah.
I'm saying yes, yes, yes. Love it.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. And from the center also, if I come to that place, because there have been a lot of unsettling things in my life recently, that's true for all of us, I'm sure. But when I come to the center, I always have that deep reminding, it is all here to serve you.
Mm.
Now, when you know that at the core of your being, and that will come forth when you center, honey,
Mhm.
it's here to serve you. What does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Then suddenly the perspective, the idea of how I look at it shifts. Because if I'm trying to say, oh my God, I can't go through this again. Oh my God, I can't, if I'm trying to do that, when I center, I go, of course you can. There's something new coming up here. Open for it. Get
Mm.
ready, you know? And so if I know that it's here to serve me, then I will seek for that joyful explanation because I know
Mm.
that it's here to expand me, and that expansion is my joy. That is our gift,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to say too that like the if you have this pure potential to create anything you desire, you can pop out to any place. Having a structure around, or I think I call it scaffolding. Like, think of an artist painting a mural, right? The artist builds a scaffold on a wall, brings the art supplies up to a higher vantage point, creates the art, then gathers your tools, and you get down, and you're not always going to be on a scaffold, but the art will remain. You don't have to be always high up in the highest perspective that you can be, but if you wanted to, if you wanted to create, what I aim at teaching is how to create the kind of scaffolding that you can trust so that you know how to build that thing. And so for me, that this is part of what I've learned in my experience of creating the geometry. I attune to um four four guiding principles for me. So the first is my pleasure, my delight, my joy. I create anew. The singular dot grain of pure potential, I create a new thing according to my pleasure, according to my delight, because you're going to be creating something anyway. And you could create according to obligation. You could create according to what is outer correctness for someone else. This is why I brought in at the beginning that this idea of questioning our beliefs and being in a place of belief questioning. Wait a second, am I pursuing this because I'm trying to do right by everybody else? Am I doing this because somebody else thinks I should do a thing? Am I trying to make my mom happy? Am I trying to make sure that people think that I'm really good at doing webinars? Clearly, I have a lot to learn about doing webinars, right? But like, what I do care about is connecting with you all, and connecting in what's real, right? I create according to my pleasure. And then there are more frameworks, more pieces to this scaffolding, which I really want to teach. And I aim at um, creating an experience for people where we can go together deep into creating anew according to our pleasure. Um, I'm gonna say a blessing to you, and then I'm gonna tell you about something that I'm up to. Um, this is the blessing that holds within it the code for the scaffolding that I was referring to, and it's too much to say in our time together. So I've made it into, well, I want to tell you something else first. In my um questioning of my beliefs, and in my falling apart of my psyche, and in the rebuilding of myself, I decided that I couldn't really trust the the government. I couldn't really trust institutions. They don't actually have my best in mind, but I do need to feel a sense of support. And so I decided to just make myself president of my own self. And I made my own version of my what I call a beautiful future. And so this beautiful future, I have a flag, I have a I have a Pledge of Allegiance, and I have a what's the song? National anthem. And so again, it's so playful and light and silly, but it makes me so happy when I think of it, which is why I want to share it with you this way. So in my version of a beautiful future, here the blessing that I'm going to share with you is what I consider to be the pledge of allegiance, like the thing that's like, this is what we stand for in my country. My version of a beautiful future, the pledge goes like this, and it's really more of a blessing than it is a pledge. And so I'm going to say it for you now from the place of me owning the fact that I'm in charge of creating my own version of a beautiful future, which is happening right now because we're here together. Here's the blessing. May you create anew according to your pleasure. May you shine your glorious light. May you take mature, responsible care of your creations. May you know that you are safe. And may you honor the truth and fullness of your being in your lived experience of pleasure, beauty, renewal, and devotion. So I say, and so it is. That is my blessing. And I want to sing for you the national anthem. So here's my national anthem, and I have to give a little precursor. So I grew up in the church, right? So in the church, they do a lot of worship songs. And what is worship? It is, most of those songs are, we're the worst and you're awesome. I'm a terrible wretch and you're so great. And I suck and you're awesome. That I have like decided that I desire nothing to do with that. And I don't think that that's worship. Here's what I think is worship. To me, worship is a mama nursing her baby and looking at those little baby toes and seeing the little baby toes and seeing the little fingers and kiss those little toes and fingers. That is worship. That's worship. And I have the firsthand experience of being loved that way by spirit, by my high self. And so I want to sing for you what in my version of a beautiful future, this is the kind of song that would be sung where I come from, where we come from. This is a blessing for you from all of heaven and earth. We behold you, beautiful one. We behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let this love wash over you. Let this love watch over you. I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let this love wash over you. Let this love watch over you. This is the future that I am creating for myself. And I'm inviting people. I'm sharing what I have, imperfectly as I am doing it. It is real. And that is what I believe our future is calling for. Not perfect as all my beautiful slides would have impressed you in one sense. And in another sense, it would be just another thing, right? But this is real what we've created together. I am going to be offering a 6-week deep dive where we can connect and build this version of a beautiful future. I want to support you to have the steps in the scaffolding that help you create something way, way bigger than you, way bigger than you may ever have imagined. From this framework of pleasure, beauty, renewal, devotion. And it has nothing to do with beliefs. There's nothing to believe in about a circle. There's nothing to believe in here. This is not a holy book. You could go get yourself a compass. I really recommend getting yourself a compass and just draw a bunch of circles and see how it feels to create from a really solid centered place. The 6-week class I'm going to start is going to start in mid-July, and it's called the Beautiful Future Design Experience, or the BFD experience. And and it is a place where we can go deep together. I will share more details about it. I'll send out an email about it if you want to hear about it. But it is going into deeper places like this and calling forward your beauty, calling forward your light. And because the thing that you are here to create, my sweets, my sweeties, no one else can create it. No one else could. No one else could, because their delight is not the same as your delight. But our delights might overlap. And there might be something that we create together that could never have happened if it hadn't been in this overlap. So I want to invite some just reflections and just what are you coming away from this experience with? I see some tears, I see some emotion.
Absolutely. And I think emotion is what it's all about these days. We have to be clear about who we are and how we feel. And we have to love that, regardless of, even when it's not our best piece. If we love it, then we understand ourselves better, and then we move on, we grow. But I loved your anthem. I think that is magnificent. It is beautiful. It touched my heart. And I, like you, aspire to awakening the joy in others, awakening the peace within each and every one of us as we connect. If I can bring a stable hold for you in some way that, that you're feeling kind of out of sorts in, if I can do that, then that opens my heart, and it ignites me to my joy. It ignites me to my pleasure. And so I think that you are right on target, in the sense of, all of us have been burdened with growing up and being a good adult. When there is no joy in that, for the most part. Most of that is beating down the doors to get where we're going. And we have got to come back to this core center. Watch a child. If a child gets hurt, they walk away from whatever hurts them and they go find something else to do. They don't blame and shame it. They just move on, And we teach them to blame and shame. A child wouldn't do that. A child's just like, oh, not that one. Let's go to this one. And everything to a child is wonder. And that's what I aspire to, is that when I look at my world, I see the wonder. I don't see the 3D terror. I see the wonder. I want to call that out. That's what I'm trying to create. That beauty in my space with everyone and everything, And so thank you. Thank you. It is an emotional space for me right now, because I love to see this. I haven't been able to connect with you in so many years, Kimberly. And I love to see the beauty in you coming out in such a joyful, loving way. As you would say, blessings on your head, sweet sister. Absolutely.
Thank you. I love you, Shira, so much.
I love you too, sweetie. It's a powerful time. And it's a blessing to be on the planet that same time you are.
Same. I
Yeah.
feel the exact same. Hmm. Hmm.
Thank you, Kim,
Uh,
for holding space for this today.
It's my
yes, thank
pleasure.
you. It's always so wonderful to see you just in your complete freedom sharing, and it's such a blessing. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, Cynthia, so much. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing everyone together. The sense of community is really, really important. And I feel, yeah, a lot of comfort just being with other people who are trying to navigate the uncertainty and we're all falling through the void together. It feels really
Mm.
good to yeah, just connect with the humanity and the infinite nature of all of you. So thank you so much.
Hmm.
Yeah, it means so much to be here with everybody who thank you everyone for bringing your presence here. Like just each of our presence here is our light shining and is
Hmm.
yeah, just filling me with lots of strength. I feel very empowered being here with everyone.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you, Lily. I love you, dear.
I love you too.
Hmm.
Thank you, Tim, for being our support behind the scenes
Yes,
Hmm.
and
thank
in the
you, Tim.
scenes.
Hey, thank you, Tim. We
Yay,
love you
Tim.
too. Yeah.
Hmm. And hi, Nina. It's nice to see your face.
Hi, it's so nice to see your face. I've been brought in by Cara. I'm in California, and it's really, really nice to join the space. Thank you so,
Mm.
so much, Kimberly. You're pure magic, and I felt really bathed in the sunlight of it and a reflection on what I'm coming away with. For me, I feel a sense of release and relief. Somehow the way that everything that occurred on this Zoom is reflecting my life has been about compassion. I
Mm.
felt like within the framework of the circles spoke to me in the language of widening the circles of compassion and sort of like dissolving the barriers around the heart a little bit. I think because a
Mm.
lot of the beliefs that I'm like undergoing a change with are around compassion. They're around things that are happening in the world. I'm a Jewish American. I won't go into the 3D story of that,
Mhm.
but that's what came to mind for me. That particular belief discovery shift expansion that was reflected in the circles for me today and in the hourglass shattering for me today. I became aware that having these boundaries around the heart, having these constrictions is, while it feels like self-protective, it's like a subtle form of stress. It's a subtle form of stress
Mm.
to have barriers to the heart. And I
Mhm.
felt like a release and a relief of them as you described
Mhm.
how how that happens geometrically, how we expand geometrically. And I had a really meta experience because it felt like as you described sort of this process in this lens, like that in itself was doing the process because I just wouldn't think of it this way. I'm like a really
Mhm.
kind of cerebral verbal person. I'm not really seeing shapes. And so as you were describing the belief system expansions through geometry, that was doing my belief system expansion. You know, it was like it was several
Amazing.
levels. So anyway, um, just thank you so much for having me.
Wow. It's my total pleasure. And Emmy, I see your little tile there. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. I just wanted you to know that I say hi.
Hi, this was so lovely. I'm so grateful to have heard what you had to say and to be able to share some of my insights. And yeah, it's just a lovely time to find beautiful people in the world. So grateful for all of you and everything you shared.
Mm, thank you so much. All right, y'all. Blessings on your head. I will send out information about my upcoming thing, and I'm going to aim at doing another webinar maybe next week. I'm just going to keep practicing until I get better at it.
I'm here for it. Woo!
Yay. All
You did
right,
a great
y'all.
job, Kim. You did a
Yes.
great job.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. I
Thank you for
appreciate
letting us
creating with you.
thank you for letting us witness frustration and just go with the flow. That's very important for us to see. So thank you for doing that.
I have a feeling that in the future, we're going to be experiencing a lot more things not going the way we planned, and we have to figure out how we're going to
Yeah,
handle it.
and
Like
it's
that's
okay.
actually what's real.
Yeah,
So it is my pleasure to be very, very human with you all.
Yeah.
good.
All right. Bye, y'all. Thank
Mwah.
you so
Much
much.
love.
Yes,
Bye.
thank
Thank
you.
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 Bye.
Mwah.